Hello, William Tennant here. Uh, for week 6 assignment and introduction to public speaking, we are supposed to do an informative speech. An informative speech is something that does exactly that. It informs. In an informative speech, you want to avoid any kind of bias or opinion. You simply just want to state the facts as to the topic that you are presenting. The topic I am choosing for my informative speech is marriage. It's going to supplement my final persuasive speech, so I figured it'd be easiest to knock out some research now and get it over with. So I'm going to start by giving some of the facts about marriage, what it is, some of the history, where it came from. Then I'll give some of the details as the numbers and statistics, and then I'll go into some details and stuff as far as same-sex marriage goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Uh, Marriage is defined as socially or ritually recognized union or legal contract between spouses that establishes rights and obligations between them and their children, and between them and their in-laws. So that pretty much says that marriage just isn't between two people. It's between them and the family that it affects. So you might not think of it as including your in-laws, but they're just as much part of it as your wife or your husband that you're agreeing to marry. Marriage can be between one man and one woman. That's the normal definition as we as Americans know it. Or it can be what's defined as polygamy, one man with several women. That's less common, still out there. Many countries, and even in the United States, many, well, not many, several religions will recognize this. Or it can be between same-sex partners, which I'll get into at the end of the discussion. According to Wikipedia, marriage predates written history. That means it's been around as long as we can remember, and then some. So that tells me for some reason people have had a predisposition to want to be obligated to another person for the rest of their life. They want to sign a contract essentially with this person stating they will be with them and only them for the rest of their life. Uh, Marriages can be religious, or they can simply be civil contracts signed between two people. So, everybody's familiar with the religious ceremony with the preacher and the priest. Well, you can also go in front of a justice of the peace or the magistrate or whatever and just sign a marriage certificate, and you are legally married. And that is a contract that is legally binding and filed with the state that you live in. Marriage is common in all countries and all religions, so it's across the board. It's been around so long that it's spread through the whole world. Um, in the past, marriages were arranged, so that means a father would have a daughter, and then he would say, "Okay, I want 100 horses for my daughter's hand in marriage," or whatever. Or the suitor may make an offer on the daughter. Um, uh, they're still arranged in some parts of the world. Even it's a little less common, as freedom and free will are taking control, but they can still be arranged. Um, People never married for love. They just didn't do it. It was seen as a fleeting, silly thing to do. It wasn't something to base a life on. Um, they married for social or economic reasons. They would marry to better themselves. They would marry their children off to unite two strong families, to have a stronger, you know, presence in the community. Um, According to psychologytoday.com, in marriage, when it originally started, thousands of years ago, women had little rights. They were subservient to the men. Men said what was to go on, and the women listened. Um, and they were also responsible for all the house chores. They did the cooking, the cleaning, took care of the children, sewing, everything we define today as women's work. Essentially, that's where the phrase came from. Women were responsible for doing this. Men didn't do any of this stuff. They were responsible for the outside chores, building, working, farming, and all that. And if they actually helped with the cooking or cleaning or the children, it was actually looked down upon in the society, as they weren't equal. They were, men were supposed to be above women. They were supposed to be the head of the household, and these chores were below them. Um, During this time, divorce was not acceptable. It was very, very rare. And if it did happen in the off chance, it was looked down upon. there was a big stigma attached to anybody that was divorced, especially if you were a woman. Don't know why that is. I think that goes back to women being viewed as the lesser of the two. Um, According to dailyinfographic.com, the national divorce rate is about 50%. 50%. That means about half of the people that get married will end up getting a divorce. That's astonishing to me. I thought the number uh, wouldn't be close to that, but I guess divorces are pretty common and acceptable. Um, and another fact that I found pretty interesting from this site, the more marriages you as a person were involved in, the higher probability you were going to get a divorce. I think the numbers were something like 30% of people got a divorce on their first marriage, and 40 some percent got a divorce on their second marriage, and on their third marriage, the number was up to 73% chance they were likely to get a divorce. That just blows my mind. You would think if you didn't get it right the first couple times, you wouldn't even try it again, but that's I guess that's their business. Um, the top 5 reasons for divorce. There's many reasons. They span all over. Just the imagination why people would get a divorce. According to this website, dailyinfographics.com, the first one is poor communication. Number one reason, poor communication. People aren't talking. They aren't, projecting their feelings well, or what have you. The second is finances, money issues. Either somebody's not making enough or somebody's spending too much. So they're fighting over the money. Third is abuse. I didn't say which type. It just said abuse. So I'm assuming that encompasses, physical, mental, verbal, all of it. The fourth reason is they're just simply not attracted to each other anymore. As people grow older, they change, they grow apart, their physical appearances change. So it's natural that people are just going to essentially grow apart. The fifth, which I figured this one would be a little higher on the list than what it is infidelity. People straying from their marriage, cheating, not happy with their spouse, so they go outside their marriage for fun or to seek fulfillment. Like I said, I thought that would be higher, but it's fifth on the list. Today, marriage is seen as an expression of ultimate love. It's not so much seen as a business contract or a way to better yourself as it is, professing your profound love for this person you want to get married to. And maybe that's why the divorce rates are so high. It's hard to tell, but that was a conclusion. That was a little joke that one of the websites I was researching on threw out. Maybe they take the business aspect out of it. People just involve passion. Well, now when you get your passion involved, you're more likely to not get along and to not see eye to eye. And this brings me into equal rights. Same-sex marriage, the issue the gay and lesbian community have is they want to be able to equally profess their love for their partner. And marriage is the ultimate profession of love in our modern society, and they want to be able to profess that for their partner. And in many states, they're not allowed. It's up to the actual individual state to legislate same-sex marriage, for or against. According to ncsl.org, 33 states do not allow same-sex marriage. There's either laws on the books or what have you against it, and 29 of those states have actual prohibitions written into their state constitution. What that means is it would take a major change of the Constitution, amendment or what have you, to allow same-sex marriages in that state. And of course, if you're taking notes and keeping track of the math, that only leaves 17 states plus DC that same-sex marriage is legal and authorized. So those are just some of the facts with marriage. Like I said, I'm using this to supplement my final project, so I just figured I would throw the facts out there, and hopefully I didn't come off too biased or slanted one direction or another. I'll get into that at a later date. So that's all I got, and thank you for your time.